Disclaimer. This video's information is being provided for informational, educational, and general interest purposes only. The information in this video is not intended to shock, enrage, or otherwise provoke the viewer. The sole purpose of this video was to raise awareness of true crime-related events. Copyright disclaimer: under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
911, what's the location of your emergency?
Yes, my son is unresponsive right now.
Your son
and I need
Hold on. What's your address?
The address is 1934 Kensington Drive.
1934 Kensington? So you said your son is
Yes.
Okay, you said your son is unresponsive?
Yep.
Okay, how old is he?
He's a child with a lot of medical issues. So what he do is he'll just not have his...
Stop, just for a minute. How old is he?
He's 11 years old.
Okay.
In 3 days.
And when you say he's unresponsive, is he breathing?
Yeah, but barely. I mean, he got skin tone.
Okay, just stay on the line with me for just a sec. Let me get them started, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, they're on their way to 80,
Thank you, ma'am.
stay on the phone, 1934 Kensington Drive, right?
Yes.
Is that
I'm blowing in his breath,
Okay,
and it smells real rotten in the inside of his stomach.
Okay, is that a house or an apartment?
It's a house, ma'am.
Okay. So if he's breathing, let him breathe. So what I want you to do, I need you to lay him flat on the ground just for a minute, okay? Lay him flat on the ground so we can check his breathing, okay?
Okay, he's laid out on his ground now.
Okay. He's on his back?
Yes.
Okay. So I need you to check to see if his chest is rising, like look at it. And is it rising up and down, rising and falling like he's breathing? Check that and then let me know. And also if you can feel or hear any breath out of his mouth or nose.
No, it's not rising up and down.
Okay. You said we're going to go ahead and start CPR, okay? So keep him laying
Yeah.
flat where he is, okay?
Okay. He got something coming out of his mouth.
Okay, what's coming out? What do you think is coming out?
I'm not sure what it is.
Okay. I want you to turn him on his side. Turn him on his side. That way, in case he vomits, he doesn't choke on it. So go ahead and turn him on his side, okay?
Okay. I did it.
Can you clean that out of his mouth a little bit? Take your fingers and clean it out of his mouth, just so he doesn't choke on anything?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me know when you've done that, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Whatever in it coming out very, very rotten. It's a lot in his air passage, ma'am.
Okay, I understand. You said he has medical history. What kind of medical history does he have?
I mean, just mental behavior. See, he just hurts himself all the time.
Okay.
He wake up, don't get his way, slam his head, eat his shit.
All right, I understand. Okay.
It never ends.
Okay, so is he still on his side?
Is he still on his side? Yes.
Okay, are you cleaning whatever you can out of his mouth?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, do you think he could have taken anything, or you have no idea?
No, I don't give him access to anything.
Okay, go ahead.
I know he likes to eat his own poop and lay in his own pee all day.
Okay.
He won't stop at no cost.
Okay.
You all right?
Is he responding to it
Breathe
at all?
for me.
Is he breathing?
It's hard to say. I see his eyes.
Okay, and what are his eyes doing? Like, are they moving? Is any part of his body moving?
No, they just still.
Okay, go ahead and lay him on his back again. If you think his mouth
Now
is out
something coming out his nose. He's throwing up out his nose now.
Okay, then lay him on his side, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
And just
What about CPR?
Well, you need to clean out his air passages as best you can before you can start CPR.
That's what you're telling.
But if
I'm trying to hold it in there.
If you think it's as clean up as you can do it, then you can go ahead and start with the breath. You tell me. Is there anyone else there with you, sir?
No, ma'am.
Okay, is the door unlocked?
Yeah, the front door is unlocked.
Okay, they're on their way. Okay, you're going to start breathing into his mouth, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I want you to...
I'm going to clear the air passage out.
Okay, yes, clear it out as best you can. I understand that there's something in there. So you're going to tilt his head up, his forehead up, so it's facing the ceiling, so his airway is open as best as you can. And you're going to blow...
Tilt his forehead up.
Yeah, tilt his forehead up a little bit.
Okay.
And you're going to blow 2 breaths into his mouth, okay? You're going to cover his mouth with your mouth. Go ahead. Tell me if you see anything that's different. Is he breathe like his watch his chest? And check.
No, ma'am.
We're going to do chest compressions, okay? So you're going to put his hands, your 2 hands, between his breastbone, and you're going to press down hard and fast, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So go ahead and continue doing that. You're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Can you count with me? Tell me when you're doing it, please.
Yes. 1, 2, 3,
Okay.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Okay, go ahead and give him a breath, okay? When you breathe in, if you can face his chest and see if you can see his chest rising up and down with your breath.
Nothing.
Okay, go ahead and I want you to go ahead and continue with the chest compressions, okay? And we're going to go ahead and count.
No air.
No, just go ahead and do with the chest compressions right now. Okay, well,
1,
keep going.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Keep going.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay, so you're doing a good job.
Ambulance
Okay.
is here now.
Okay, go ahead and open the door for me.
What's your emergency?
Hello and welcome to Crime Champs. In order to ensure you don't miss any of our videos, please hit the bell, like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment before we start. We are all familiar with Takoda Collins' tragic story. If you're not, here's a brief summary of the case. Takoda Collins was taken to Dayton Children's Hospital on December 13, 2019, where he subsequently passed away from abuse and neglect. Montgomery County Children's Services reports that there was no open case against Takoda, and Al McLean is taken into custody. The prosecutor's memo claims that Takoda spent his final hours in hellish circumstances. Takoda reportedly lived in the attic, locked, naked, and subjected to abuse and beatings. Following interviews with McLean's girlfriend, Amanda Hinsey, and her sister, Jennifer Ebert, the police investigation compares the injuries discovered on Takoda's body to the statements made by the 2 women regarding McLean's mistreatment of Takoda. Prosecutors claimed that Takoda was crushed when he stood on his back with all of his weight applied after McLean had elbowed and punched him. Then, as Takoda went downstairs to watch TV, McLean made him stand in a punishment pose, hunched over and with his legs crossed. McLean wasn't done yet. After watching television for a few hours, he tormented Takoda by calling him names, slathering him with hot sauce, hurling him around, grabbing him by the ears, and dragging him downstairs. McLean, then, took Takoda into the bathroom where Takoda was ultimately drowned by being submerged in the bathtub. Takoda died from blunt force trauma combined with compressive asphyxia and water submersion in a bathtub, according to the Montgomery County Coroner's Office, which declared his death to be a homicide. Takoda was abused by McLean for years, according to the prosecution. Prosecutors claimed that Hinsey and Ebert encouraged McLean to mistreat Takoda and permitted the abuse to continue. For murder, rape, kidnapping, and endangering children, McLean entered a guilty plea. Amanda Hinsey entered a guilty plea to charges of child endangerment and involuntary manslaughter. Jennifer Ebert entered a guilty plea to charges of child endangerment and involuntary manslaughter.
You're about to witness an exclusive Crime Champs interview with Khalil, Takoda's older brother. Here are his terrifying accounts of what it was like to live with a monster.
I want to begin by expressing my sincere condolences for the loss of your younger brother, Takoda, and thanking you for letting me interview you. How are you? How are things going?
I'm doing well. I've been working on self-love, and I've also been trying to focus on my career from being a wildfire conservation specialist. I'm in college now, or trade school.
How is trade school going for you?
It's actually pretty good. Well, it's actually things are going extremely well. It's just sometimes kind of challenging.
Why do you find trade school so challenging?
Mostly just a lot of stress and things that just overwhelm a lot.
I'm sorry you're feeling so overwhelmed and stressed. How do you try to relieve some of your stress?
I like making music and play piano, and I go roller skating.
That's fantastic. How long have you been making music?
I've been making music for like a year and a half now. I've been freestyling since I was like 9.
I hope you can achieve great things with your music because practice makes perfect. Which artists are some of your favorites?
J. Cole and Tupac, especially Tupac.
What qualities distinguish Tupac as a great artist?
I think a lot of the stuff Tupac says in his songs is really relatable, especially like the Dear Mama song where he said he said something like 17 young. Wait, I can look at the lyrics. It's just really relatable. Okay. It says like when I was young, me and my mama had beef, 17 years old, kicked out on the street. Though back at the time I thought I'd never seen her face.
When I was young, me and my mama had beef, 17 years old, kicked out on the streets. Though back at the time, I never thought I'd see her face. Ain't a woman alive that could take my mama's place.
I could say that because like me being 17, I had left my mom's house. I wasn't necessarily kicked out, but I had left because like my trust towards people wasn't so well. But like seeing how it was on the streets, me having to sleep in other people's houses, me having to sleep, I slept on porches before. It's like when certain things happen to you, you just start losing trust and love for a lot of stuff and start focusing on yourself.
What made you decide to leave your mother's house?
I left my mom's house because it seemed like some of the stuff she was saying I didn't really agree with. And then over time, so since what happened to my little brother Dakota, I feel like things are just being repeated after I left. So like when I got back with my mom, it's like my stepdad is just as bad as my dad. So like some stuff happens to my other brother Caden, but DSS still doesn't do anything about that now. So I look at her like she tries saying, "Oh yeah, your dad's a horrible person," all this other stuff. I agree with her completely, but you're not doing anything to show that anything is changing or you're trying to make things better. So I just decided like there's no need. So the second I got a job, I just left.
What was it like to grow up and live with your mom?
Growing up with my mom, things were we never really got along. It's like we always argue. We always argue, and it seems like she always tries to put my other brothers and sisters first, like ahead of me. Like if I was to get in trouble, if we were all to get in trouble together, I'd be the only one still in trouble weeks later, even if their consequences are already done. It's just felt like a certain hate towards me. But I can relate this. I can see how some of it was kind of my fault because like when I was younger, I used to just do a bunch of wild stuff, have a lot of ADHD, a whole bunch of other stuff. So I used to just run around doing a bunch of bad stuff, which still doesn't explain like why I did anything. But she sent me to live with my dad because I guess like a lot of stuff was happening. I was getting kicked out of kindergarten, daycare.
I'm aware that you and your younger brother Takoda were very close. Could you share some of the enjoyable moments you two shared?
So I remember when it was like really cold around Christmas time, And me and my brother Dakota, we would go outside, and it was snowing in our yard. So like, um, we would just play around, make little snowmans and stuff. We would make snow angels in the snow. That's probably the most fun thing I remember us doing. And I think like down from my dad's house was a place where there was a big tree stump, and we would go over there. And there was also these neighbors across the street who we would always play with. And we would go over there. He loved Nerf guns and water guns and stuff like that. And in our room where me and him used to stay, we had like a little carpet where we had a lot of toys in a bucket. And we would always drive the little toy cars on the bucket and stuff when we were younger to play with.
When did you move in with your father and brother after leaving your mother's house?
I'm not sure the exact year. I know I was young.
Why did your mother force you to move in with your father and brother?
I was getting in a lot of trouble in Fayetteville. Like in kindergarten and daycare, I was running away from my mom. So I guess like, she just wanted like my actual dad to take care of me since she felt like she couldn't.
How did your father treat you when you first moved in with him?
So things were all normal at first. Like there was a corner store nearby our house where he would always take us to go get like and after a while, it was maybe like 3 weeks later, things just started to seem to change a little bit. But at first, things were fine.
What was something you guys used to do together?
So we would always ride around listening to music. He had these little tapes in his little Crown Vic cars we used to listen to. And we would also, like, I would sit outside and help him work on his car. Um, we would, I don't know, he used to watch a lot of movies. And sometimes we would watch movies with him.
When did things at your house start to change and go wrong?
It was like once I started school. Once I started school, things seemed to go bad because um I already seen that like how he acted towards Dakota was a little odd. Then it started affecting me also because when I went to school, there was I think it was called Horseman Elementary in Dayton, and when I was there was a principal. He liked the principal a lot, but like one day we went to school, but the day before he had my book bag. He was outside cutting grass around the house, and he had cigarettes in the bag. So there's so much tobacco was still left in the bag. So I went to school with my bag the next day, and I had tobacco still in the bag, and the principal smelled it or whatever. They searched my bag, and I got suspended from school. After that, then he seemed to start getting more upset about small things.
So even though it was his fault that the cigarettes were in the bag, he still blamed you for having them?
Yeah.
It was all his fault, so I don't think you should have been punished. What sort of punishments would he subject you to?
So like once I got suspended from school, the punishments first started as maybe as like just standing in the wall in the corner, and then after that, the punishments got like we're standing there all night. Then I guess it seems like he got some enjoyment out of it because there was like a camera. He put a camera up in the house. It was in the middle of the living room, and it was supposed to be there to watch me and Dakota. And we would have to. So I would stand there. We had to do squats with a book bag, and I didn't like that. So I think I either ran away that time or I went to school and told one of the social workers. After he seen that like the social workers come to our house and everything, then they leave. That just made him upset because he was like you're just telling business, whatever, doing stuff like that. So after that happened, I had after that had happened, me and Dakota like would just stand there every single day. Sometimes he'll put cans on our hands. So he'd stack books on our hands or on our heads, and we would just stand there all day. And if we were to fall, we'd get beat. I remember one time I got stomped on the ground super hard. Like he just kept on stomping on me in the middle of the living room. And then another time, like we were just standing there in the corner. We really couldn't eat much or get any water, so there was a dog bowl for the dogs we had. I think we had a dog named like Zoe and Champ that were in the house, and we used to go over there and drink out the dog bowls, and then we would drink out the toilet in the bathroom. So I guess he found out of us drinking out of the toilet, so he tried to stop whatever, but he didn't stop it by telling us like stop drinking out the toilet. He would put my head in the toilet and he'd keep on flushing it. And I remember blood was coming out of my nose one time. When it came to our food, we would have to eat like he would put black beans, cold black beans, and we would eat that straight, just cold black beans. Or he would take noodles and he'll throw the seasoning packet away. He would run it over cold water and he'll spit on the noodles, and that's what we would eat for dinner. While they would just sit back and they eat Italian food. I think it was this one place called like Fazoli's or something in Dayton, Ohio. And they would go there and they would just go out there and they would eat a whole bunch of food right in front of us. And we would just sit there and eat. It was like Amanda and my dad, they'd just always sit there and we'd just be eating the same stuff every night, just cold noodles.
I'm very sorry that you had to endure that, Khalil. Did he treat Takoda and you similarly?
Well, sometimes we both get like the backlash from his random anger. And then sometimes it would be like I get treated worse sometimes Dakota get treated worse. But it would always be that Dakota would always get treated worse than me.
What is the harshest punishment you have ever received from your father?
To me, probably the toilet, me getting drowned in the toilet. Or him well, I think the toilet's worse, but the other thing was we used to be in a little room and he would put a padlock on the door. So we couldn't really use the bathroom. So he would put our pee underwear on top of our head and we would just sit there. And like just like we're standing up on a regular day, but we'd have to sit there with the underwear on top of our head. And I remember one time he came in there, he was like he could smell the pee. I know you could smell it because we were standing there all day in the living room with that on our head. The house already smelled kind of bad, but that added to it. So he would just come over there, he'll go in there, pee on our underwear and put it back on our head. I guess it was our punishment because we always used to use the bathroom on ourselves. We had no other choice. Like we would pee in the vents, we would pee, and like sometimes he put a bucket in a room, but when the bucket got full, or we just peed ourselves or peed on our bed or whatever. So he didn't like it, whatever. So I guess that was his way of trying to teach us not to do it anymore.
How many meals did your father give you and Takoda each day?
I think we would eat maybe like twice a day, but drinking water, we didn't really drink much unless you got it from the dog bowl or the toilet.
I'm so sorry. Can you recollect all that you saw and heard about Takoda's punishment?
So I remember one time my dad put hot sauce on his butt. That was probably like one of the worst things I've seen. Other than that, us getting beat was probably the worst I've seen by him. But when I left, things just got worse from what I heard. But a lot of stuff I didn't really see much myself. But I remember when like he would just like punch Dakota, but he would always have a little makeup thing he would put on our face before we go to school. It was like a little tiny mascara looking makeup thing for our face. I'm not sure. I don't know I don't know female products, but it was like something for our skin that matched our skin color. And he'll put it on our skin and we would just go to school.
So the mascara was used to hide the bruises, right?
Yeah, like to hide bruises and hide like marks on our face, like black eyes and stuff.
What, in your opinion, angered your father?
I'm not really sure. A lot of people told me it was probably because of his childhood, how he grew up. Because I remember he was telling us a story one time, like how like he said he had other family members he grew up with, and when like he would get in trouble, his mom wouldn't do something about it. He would get their brothers and sisters would do something, like to help solve the problem, whatever. Like when it comes to fighting, I'm not when it comes to fighting, like when it comes to discipline, like their brothers and sisters. That's what he told me one time. But I'm not sure if that would be the reason for that, but I'm not sure.
Are you aware of any childhood trauma that he may have experienced?
Not really.
Let's talk about his girlfriend, Amanda Hinsey. How did she contribute to the abuse?
So Amanda, what she really did, like, so sometimes we were on car rides, we would always have to ride completely folded over. So like our head is by our knees. And they would both put their seats back. So Amanda would always put her seat back also. And sometimes like Amanda would hit Dakota also. But like every single time we went out to the store, maybe go to Kroger, or we would also go to maybe the restaurant where they would go get their food from for Italian food. We would just sit there in the car and we're completely folded over. So like our backs are hurting when we get out. And then we still come back just to stand up in the same position all day or all night. And like Amanda, I think they had back scratchers. Amanda would always hit me and Dakota with the back scratcher.
Why, in your opinion, did Amanda treat you and your brother abusively?
I think she probably did it because my dad probably did it to her. And then they probably been doing it to Dakota for so long before I got there that that's just how they are. But I'm not sure the reasons why a lot of the stuff they do.
Regarding the food and the abuse, is there anything else she would do?
No, I'm not sure anything else.
What role did Amanda Hinsey's sister, Jennifer Ebert, play in the abuse and neglect towards you and Takoda?
So she would just like she didn't have a lot to do with it as much as Amanda, my dad. But what she would do, she knew a lot about it, but she would never say anything. So she would just sit on the couch, she would watch her movie. I think she used to watch a lot of Grey's Anatomy movies or Grey's Anatomy shows. And she would just sit there on the couch and like if we were to like get out of our position maybe or like try to not listen or maybe slack off whatever, she would tell us, she was like, straighten up, straighten up. She was like, you better stand back up because your dad gonna be here. And then when she would say that, she's like, it's like her playing a part to it. It's like they're just using her to like watch us while she's gone, but she's doing like she's just watching out for us in a bad way. Like she can like let us sit down for a while, but she would just tell us like straighten up. She's like, get back in the squat position. You're not doing this right. You're not doing that right. And what would really make us mad because we know she could never do that. Like her weight, she could never hold it for more than 10 seconds, and we're there the whole day. So when she says that, sometimes she'll call my dad because my dad worked at Taco Bell, and my dad will come back home. Or when either he will come back home on his break or he'll come back when he gets off. And me and Dakota just be crying because we already know what's about to come when he gets home.
What does your father do when he gets home after Jennifer calls him and tells him that you're not carrying out the punishment correctly?
He would take Dakota in the room or me in the room and he would just beat us. And then we go back outside just crying. But me hearing Dakota scream, or I'm pretty sure him hearing me scream also just makes each other cry. So like it makes it even worse because we already know what's about to happen. We go in the room. We'll just end up getting beat again.
Did any family members or friends ever visit the house?
We had like DSS workers come over sometimes. And no, I think it was mostly just DSS workers that came over.
What brought the Ohio Department of Human Services to your home?
They're probably there because a lot of the stuff that was happening in our school. So like first probably the incident with the tobacco. Then they'll probably see bruises on me and Dakota that weren't hidden sometimes. Then they would also see that we weren't eating enough or we weren't focusing on school that much either. So I think that caused him to homeschool us. So when we got homeschooled, he would come home. I mean, like the social worker people would come and they would just like we would have to clean up the house, make everything look perfectly normal. They check out the house and then they leave. It was one guy named James that used to come over. It was her brother. He used to come. I think he stayed there too. But other than that, they didn't really have any more people coming over.
How long did James Ebert reside at your home?
I'm not sure how long he lived. I think it was there when I first got there, but he left not too long after.
What role did James, the brother of Amanda and Jennifer, play in the neglect and abuse of you and Takoda?
He basically played the role Jenny played. He just was there to watch us sometimes, and he never really said anything like anything positive about what was going on. It was just anything like oh, you're not doing your squats right or anything like that. That was mostly, he was just doing the same thing Jenny was doing.
Was James aware that abuse was taking place?
I'm pretty sure he did. But I don't think he knew it was as bad because I feel like my dad got worse over time.
Since James was acting in the same way that Jennifer was, I'm fairly certain he was aware of everything that was happening. He ought to be held responsible as well, in my opinion. The way that you and Takoda were treated is not appropriate for any child. During your homeschooling with Takoda, did all three of them assist you with your schoolwork?
Actually, I think Amanda used to actually try to help me with my schoolwork. Amanda and Jenny, they used to go to my schoolwork because I think she used to work at a nursing place, so she knew a lot about math. She worked at like a caregiving place.
For what reason did you leave your father's house?
So I ran away one time, and after I ran away, I got they just put me and Dakota in the car, and they took me to. We had to do the same thing, but we rode a long time. This I think this is the farthest route we went. We went from Ohio to Washington State. And we were just folded over the whole time. We slept like that, like so. We got so comfortable to being like bent over the whole time in the back of the seat. So that's how we slept. He just drove me to Washington, and I got at McDonald's, and then I had to wait for my mom. So we went from McDonald's. We went from Washington. Oh, we from Ohio all the way to Washington. Then I got to McDonald's, and from what I remember, it was me and Dakota, I think, and we were sitting in McDonald's, and he left, and then I had to find a way to get in contact with my mom, and then she came and got me, and then that's when I started living with my mom, and my stepdad. Once they picked me up, and we stayed in like a trailer park. Not a trailer park. It's like a little hotel trailer park. I'm not sure what it was.
You're implying that he took you to McDonald's, forced you to exit, and then abandoned you there?
That's what I remember, yeah.
When you learned that your father had killed your younger brother, Takoda, where were you?
So I was in a hospital. It's like a psychiatric hospital.
What prompted your admission to a mental health facility?
I think because I was getting into a lot of fights. I was getting into fights with people because like I don't trust people that often. And then I was running away from my mom when I got back because we just got back to Fayetteville after being in Washington for like a year and a half, or maybe like 2 years in Washington. We got back to Fayetteville. I got in trouble and for running away, fighting and stuff. Then they sent me to the hospital for like a psych eval, whatever. Then they sent me to Cherry Hospital. That's where I was, somewhere called Cherry. And when I was there, I was just, it was a couple of days after Christmas because I didn't know it happened before Christmas till after. So they didn't want me to have a bad Christmas. So I, they told me afterwards when I heard about it, I just started crying for days. And after that, it just made me so much more angry because like I didn't know who to trust. Like I was just fighting everybody. They had to put me in a chair and just strap me down because I just wanted to fight. My anger is just out of control. But it's like after so much stuff happens to you, you just start losing a lot of trust for a lot of people.
I'm sorry you experienced such trauma and suffering. How'd you feel emotionally when you learned of your brother's passing?
I was just super sad. Like I was crying for days. Like I would go to sleep crying. I would wake up crying. I remember one of the doctors in there. I think her name was Dr. Ingersoll. She would come in there and she gave me like a stuffed animal. It was like a little tan stuffed animal. And I would sleep with the stuffed animal every single day because I guess it just comforted me a little bit. Like, and then while I was there, I started putting after I start like takes me a couple of days to like just start trying to calm down, whatever. Because like I want to go home. I don't want to be here anymore. Because I know if I keep on acting up, keep on trying to fight, keep on crying and everything, it's just gonna make things worse. So I started calming down. Then I started to take pictures of engines and motors and stuff and alternators and different parts from cars, and I'd post it all over the walls in my room at the hospital place. And I would study it every day. I would like draw lines from each part and I would study car parts because it just gave me something to do.
I'm very sorry. What would you say to Amanda if you had the opportunity to talk to her?
Hmm, I probably wouldn't say anything. I don't know if I could even look at her and talk to her.
What would you say to Jennifer if you had the opportunity to talk to her?
I probably wouldn't say anything to her either.
What would you say to your father if you had the opportunity to talk to him?
Me, I probably wouldn't say anything to him. I probably just want to fight him. I'm not as small anymore and I could box now, so. But even if I did that, I probably wouldn't do that because I would take it too far.
Do you forgive them for what they did?
Mm-mm.
Do you think you would ever forgive them?
No.
Let me ask you a question. What would you say to your brother Takoda if you had the opportunity to see and talk to him again?
I don't know. I'll probably just say, like, I wish I would have stayed with you instead of running away. We could be in the same place right now. I would tell him that I would trade everything in this world just to be back with him. Or, like, if I had to, if I was to die just so that I can go to heaven to be with him or wherever he is, I would go exactly there with him. There's no point of being on this earth because. And I'll also tell him that he's probably in a better place because love does not exist in this world to me. I feel like he's better where he is because he doesn't have to deal with all this stress from people being fake. Also, like, the one thing bad about it is he doesn't have to experience, like, he never had to experience actually having a relationship, experiencing like actual love from people because people always treated him fake and had fake love towards him. But like, I would tell him like, there's really nothing special in this world for when it comes to love because most of the problems in this world I feel like are created by money and hate. It all ties together with the emotions from like jealousy. If people hate when you have money, people hate when you have love because they feel jealous. People get jealous because you have money and it causes hate. It just all ties to a lot. He's in a better place because he doesn't have to deal with all this fake stuff that's going on now. And then if he was still alive, he'd probably have to deal with a bunch of that stuff like I did. Like he would have to keep on thinking about what happened every single day. He's actually probably relieved from it now.
I think Takoda's in a better place and won't have to endure any more suffering. You can get in touch with me whenever you feel the need to talk. Keep working hard to achieve your goals. The entire Crime Champs community, including myself, has faith in you.
I never would want to be like my dad. Like I plan to have kids when I get older, but right now I'm trying to get everything prepared because I feel like he wasn't prepared for a lot of stuff either. Like when he had two kids with my mom, he was not prepared at all. So me, I'm gonna make sure I have all the living arrangements, all the money and necessary things I have to support them, and also me working on self love. Eventually, I'll have the strength to show love to my children. Also, well, I'm always gonna have love for them when they're born, but when they do come into this world, I'll show them a million times more love than my dad showed us.
Your father's where he deserves to be, and that's in jail. He must experience the same suffering that he inflicted on you and your brother. He would have been given a billion life sentences in prison if I had been the judge. Since the people that should have loved you mistreated you, I'm aware that it's difficult to trust or form close relationships, but I promise you that someone will eventually enter your life and give you the affection that you deserve. Are there any words that you would like to express to Crime Champs and all of your supporters?
Thank you for supporting my little brother, because there's a lot of people in this world who have to go through stuff like that alone. And it's good to know that there's actually people who are interested in the story, because I've been watching for a couple years a lot of the Crime Champs videos, and I see that there's a lot of people who actually care. I see the Facebook posts of people on Facebook who write posts about my little brother and all other stuff. I'm just happy to see that even though he's not here with us anymore, there's still people who are actually trying to care about him. But I just wish the people would have cared about him when he was alive.
Even though he may not be physically present, his soul will always be alive. Your brother will be by your side no matter what, and I just want you to know that. Continue to work hard and make your little brother proud.
A lot of people say they wear their heart on the sleeve. I wear my little brother on mine.
How is your current life going overall?
Well, things are kind of stressful for me now because, like, working with my trade, things aren't really going too well because of my age. But now that I'm not with my parents no more, I feel like I have a lot more freedom to do a lot of things I always wanted to do. And I feel like things are going to get better because I plan on doing real estate um this Christmas. Well, probably in like January. I plan on doing real estate so that I can buy houses for my children. And I also plan on doing stocks this Christmas so I can improve my income.
How would you like to be supported by your supporters?
Probably just never forgetting about my brother. It's never really like anything that I would want in general. Just knowing there's people out there that care, that's all I really care for.
Before we end this interview, I have a few more questions. Do you believe in God?
I do, but I don't know if I actually love God because a lot of stuff that happens makes me not know if I love anything in this world for real.
Are you angry with God?
I'm not angry. It's just that like I feel like I'm losing trust in him also.
Is it hard for you to love anyone, and if so, why?
Yeah. Probably just trust and identifying what real love is. Because like when it could be your own family that do you wrong in this world, I feel like anybody will. So then that caused me to have trust problems with people, which also leads to me loving anything in this world. Well, loving people in general. There's a lot of stuff I do love in this world, like, but people is not really one thing I really love because how people do to other people in this world, it just doesn't really work out too well.
Are you seeing a counselor for any help?
No, I don't do counseling anymore. I used to do a lot of counseling and do therapy and stuff, but I feel like a lot of that was just forced on me. So like, I really don't like it at all. Like if I wanted to do counseling or something like that, I would go for myself. But now, all I do now is just listen to music, and that's basically my therapy. And hearing advice from people, reading motivational quotes, like Eric Thomas, I read his motivational quotes in the morning sometimes on YouTube. And like that's all the therapy I need in this world because it keeps you going every single day.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to interview you today. Hearing from you and witnessing your development as a young man will make your supporters very happy. Do you have any final remarks for everyone?
No, no more words.
I appreciate you all watching this interview. Kindly like and comment below with encouraging words for Khalil. Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Have a wonderful day, and thank you all for watching.
I'm gonna drop the Uno reverse on my dad.
If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and press the notification bell. Additionally, you can view our playlists and most recent videos. Thank you for watching.